Good morning. Today is Tuesday. Happy new moon in Cancer. Hope you're well. We'll use the Gilded Ciro today by Barbara Moore and Ciro Marchetti. Tuesday, July 14th. This is a message for the collective. If you want your own private reading, you can direct message me on any of the platforms where this will post: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, do any interaction with the messages, gets them in front of people who you don't even know might need to hear them. And if there is someone who you feel could benefit, directly message this to them. Ten of Swords, Five of Cups, two more, Nine of Pentacles, and the Magician. So we're going from a situation that has ended, or is ending, or hasn't, that's necessarily needing to end, and didn't turn out the way you wanted. The emotions are involved, the mind. A few more cards are flipping now. Interesting. Anyway, and yeah, this is on the emotional and mental level that we're affected. This might be energy coming toward you, or something that you're observing in the world around you. Some of these messages aren't necessarily going to be something that impacts directly. So remember that. We're going from, we have a 5 and a 10 here. So even though this is the 5 of Cups, and the Cups is the suit of emotion, of intuition, of spirit. They're all from spirit, but the 5 is a mental construct. The 5 is a number of Mercury, of the mind. And the 10 is actually, so a manifestation of our thought processes. 10 is the number of Taurus. So some kind of manifestation has come about through our thinking, through the way maybe our thoughts have caused us to act, that has caused some kind of ending or some very difficult position where we feel like we're dead. But we also have the 9 of Pentacles and the Magician. So the Magician is a major arcana. The rest of the cards are all minor arcana, no court cards. The 9 of Pentacles, though, is an independent woman. So, being happy in the independent pursuits and the life that you've created through your own pursuit is the word that's coming up, the endurance and the continuing to, because the 9 of Pentacles comes after the 8 of Pentacles, which is like basically a decision where we're going to continue working on the thing that we're working on. We're going to go with double down on that, and we're going to even if we don't see the results right now, we soon will. Well, now you have. And so we have this, this Nine of Pentacles and the Magician. And these two coming out together is nice because this is, this is working with all of the elements, not just. So we have actually all of the elements, with exception of the fire, although we do have a Five of Wands here that kind of came out. There's some other cards that have come out. Another Seven of Pentacles. We've got an Eight of Swords and a Five of Wands. So we do have a little bit of fire on the table. But the Magician brings in all the elements, takes in all the elements, is able to to utilize fire, which is passion, spirit, the actionable, the moving, doing actions to create an toward a particular outcome. That's what I want to say. And also using water, using our intuition, using our emotional intelligence, using the earth element to create something, to actually materialize something, and also the air element to use the intellect as a way of, instead of, being in a prison, we've got the Eight of Swords that came up, like a prison of our own making, that, that ends up creating these kinds of situations where we have, these endings that come from basically assumptions. So, we have this emotional, loss kind of thing going on. But this also it's ignoring, remember the Five of Cups has two cups still standing. But it's choosing, it's kind of, choosing to look at, it's being conscious of what has been and, feeling those emotions, but also being willing to pick up those two other cups. And the Five of Cups then proceeds to the Six of Cups, which is, this kind of like give and take, this more altruistic, this, we're all, recognition of the tender parts of us, and being in a more forgiving and a nostalgic, in a loving, with a more loving gesture. So in that Six of Cups, those two cups are being shared back and forth. So this isn't a stuck place. This may feel like a very stuck place, but don't let the thoughts, especially in the wake of the new moon, drag you into this kind of energy, because even though you might be having, there may be the need to move on in a way that, there's so much beauty around. There's so much to do. What are the things that you like to do? Instead of being, oh, I can't ever do anything and nothing's ever right. You know what? Nothing's perfect. Never is. That's a fallacy. That's a mind construct, that we're always at the short end of the stick. But, seeds have been well planted. We are actually creating a harvest of, this is, so again, even though there may be a little bit of a struggle back and forth about how to actually utilize our actions, and to proceed, to perform, to function, to move forward towards the things that we want. Again, this is just a struggle between the mind and the emotions. Go back to yesterday's reading, where we are able to, if we can just use our thoughts to cut through the excess emotions that just drag us down, that everything is always raining on me kind of thing, that there really isn't any time for that. Do you really want to spend your life doing that? In this kind of constant struggle, when there's a bounty available, you can be living the dream, or taking all of that energy that's available and continue working towards your dream, loving what's going on now, and knowing that every bit of what you're doing is just building more of the spiritual life you want, anchoring on spirit, looking around. Like, she has a falcon. She always has a falcon with her, or sometimes a peacock. But a falcon. This is leadership. This is being in everyday leadership, kind of like, and remember the Empress card came up yesterday. This is someone who knows that, everything that they do is going to continue to create a bounty. And it's really all, a trick of the mind. It's about how you want to, what's the framework? The framework of lack and loss and blame and shame. This is all of that. Like, is that what Is that what we want to be doing? Or do we want to actually be, be a magician, know that we're constantly creating and in co-creation with the universe, co-creation with the universe, rather than being in this struggle with spirit. And let's just dive into where spirit is trying to lead us, rather than that tussle. So if you have that feeling, that tussle, by all means. Yeah, King of Cups is at the bottom of the deck. So this is being an emotional mastery, and taking that time to nurture, but continue to let the emotions be in proportion with what's actually going on, rather than this kind of stuff. Right? So when we put that in, we have a lot more energy to stand up for what we have, the kind of endurance. And then we have the World card. These are all bottom of the deck. So there's lots of great energy on deck. It's just a matter of, getting out of, to putting our heads in the right direction, getting a better attitude about things, and enjoying and engaging in what we have, what we actually already have. You can't get more if you don't already like what you got. So there's that. I'm going to leave it at that. Like, share, subscribe. Like I said, do all the things. I love you. Have a great day.